Well, he's the founder of QB Summit. It's a program that helps quarterbacks reach their potential. And Jordan Palmer's QB Summit heads to Orange County this weekend. He's worked with everybody, folks. He's worked with Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. I want to start with Burrow. I'm a big fan. And I said coming out, I think he's Tony Romo, and I like Tony Romo. Well, he's better than Tony Romo. There's an it quality to him. So, and you talk to him regularly. So he was great last year. Where are his areas, as somebody that does this for a living, that you look at Joe Burrow and say, Joe, you got to get better here and here. Does he have holes? Where are his, I don't want to say weaknesses, but where are his areas now, Jordan, to you, of improvement?
Well, I actually use the word areas. I call them AOAs, areas of attention. So it's more specifically finding an element of inefficiency from last year. Right? And that's what I do with all these guys, right? We'll look at it, and maybe it's the hitch. Maybe it's how they're getting out from under center. Maybe it's not starting in a place of efficiency in a gun stance and how you can get disconnected through your drop. And that's why that one ball died on you at that one moment. So it's not really any different what I help Joe with the other guys. But what I would say is, and you've connected the dots between Joe Burrow and Tom Brady in the past. His approach is pretty similar to what I hear about Brady. Always trying to find a thing, whether he went to the Super Bowl or not. And so the way that he approaches the game, because it's not his physical prowess, it's the way that he approaches the game that I think is what's separating him from the other guys his age. But also, I mean, Colin, this is his first time. He just got to play a full season. The year before that, it was 6 games or whatever he got before he got hurt. Like, this is the off season where you go, okay, now I know exactly what it takes.
Yeah.
Like, now I know exactly what the routine, the schedule, the fatigue of an entire, and he didn't play 17 games. He played like 19 or 20, right? So I just think like the approach plus having a reference point and context for what a full season feels like puts him in a position to, I think, take another step this year.
So, Trevor Lawrence is interesting. I just had him on the show. One of the things that really jumps out to me with Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, they're really very young adults. Like, they get the importance of the position, the importance and the responsibility of being a quarterback. They don't have to win at the podium, right? Like, they get it. And that's a big deal for me. Maybe I'm into that more than others. I get mocked from time to time, and I think it's pretty funny. But I do think Doug Peterson works for him. So what now, there was a lot of turnovers last year. I get it. He didn't have a good O-line. What do you think I'll see in year 2 from Trevor Lawrence, somebody you've worked with?
Well, when I look at last year, I can evaluate, but I can't judge. I just think it's hard to judge any of these young franchise quarterbacks, these high picks, when they're in a terrible situation. And last year, I mean, just think about all the stories that were coming out of Jacksonville last year. Colin, you know as well as I do, that's what? 40% of the things that are actually happening on a regular basis,
right?
50% of the thing. I mean, we're not hearing everything. And so it's not just the issues that Urban Meyer had. It's the way everything was organized and ran. And you got to think about, Trevor was coming out of a great high school program, okay, down in Georgia. He lost 4 or 5 games in high school. Then he goes and plays for Dabo Swinney, right? And in high school, structure, stability. I know what I'm getting. Then he goes to play for Dabo Swinney. They had already won a national title before with Deshaun Watson. Structure, stability, only lost a couple of games. Then you go to that situation in Jacksonville last year. So as far as I'm concerned, I can evaluate the play and the movement and the accuracy and that. But the whole thing's a wash to me. He's now got an adult who's done it before. He's got structure, stability. I think this year we finally get a chance to see what Trevor Lawrence looks like in an NFL uniform, with a situation that's at least commiserate to the people he's playing against.
Listen, I've been doing this long enough where I trust my sources. Kyler Murray is not your kind of classic, everybody gather around me, locker room guy. He's got a different personality. He was raised in baseball, which is more about the individual than the collective. Like, I get it. And there are quarterbacks. Aaron's personality is what it is, and Kyler's is what it is. And so anybody in the league knows there have been some concerns in the building that he is not always like team lead guy. That said, he's talented. Would any of that stuff concern you? Can you win Super Bowls? Can you create a dynasty if you're maybe not, The classic Peyton Manning, let's go have beers tonight, where not everybody's the same personality. The world's changing. You're seeing it.
Well, I've always said this. I think I've talked with you about it. I think quarterbacks get really good at what they need to do to survive and thrive. So if you're a guy that runs around and makes plays, when it comes down to the game on the line, you're probably going to do that. Peyton Manning at the end of his career, when he was losing velocity and athleticism, he had to get really good pre-snap and make sure that every play they got in the perfect play. When I think about Kyler Murray, there's a bunch of stuff personality and leadership-wise that I know I work with quarterbacks of all ages, and I would advise against behaving the way that he behaves. But here's the problem. It's working. He's the winningest high school quarterback in Texas football history. That's relevant. He won a Heisman Trophy. He was the number one pick. He just got paid. Who's going to tell him to change then that this isn't working? And so I think Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury knew exactly what they were getting when they drafted this guy. And they're just taking their lumps on the stuff that they wish would be different. And they've got to rely on this guy to play. They're paying him to play at a level, I think, higher than he's even played at so far. And as far as his game, the elevation, I've watched him get better, but it's in an interesting category. When we think of when we look at amount of sacks that a quarterback takes, we automatically think about the O-line, right? Somebody doesn't get sacked a lot, ooh, good O-line. Somebody gets sacked a lot, bad O-line. But when you look at the true athletes at this position, Kyler, Lamar, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, his rookie year had 48 sacks. And I remember watching him play going, all these sacks are on this guy. He's running into these sacks. He's trying to run around and create. And he's just not misjudging the speed of these edge rushers. And these sacks are on him. And then I watched that number go down, and it went down again. So I think they keep adding playmakers. They've got some big names on defense. But the evolution of his game moving forward, and if they can really win with him and his philosophy and style, it's going to be in his ability to, when he goes to buy time, only good things happen and not bad things like sacks.
Listen, we all love Mahomes, but I've seen 5 and 6 game stretches in 3 straight years where his mechanics go sideways. That's what scouts said. He's able, he appears so coachable that you can kind of corral him, put a fence around it. But it is interesting. Is this just going to be who he is? Mechanically, it's a little wild. Thank God for Andy Reid. Is that just going to be who he is?
Yeah, I think this is a big misunderstanding with the football world evaluating quarterbacks when it comes to mechanics. So few people really actually understand ground force and understand how the body is connected and how maybe having a weaker core versus a stronger core can shut down power to our extremities. And when I look at Patrick, I don't think he has bad mechanics. I think he has his own mechanics. He trains with a guy named Bobby Stroop. He's got a reason. If you were to interview and ask Pat and he were to be candid about why he does what he does, he would have fantastic answers, Colin. He would not say, I just figure it out. What he would talk about is how he gets connected to the ground, how he maintains stability and maintains that connection all the way through the release of the ball. That's why when he whips one sidearm, it's not a trick shot. But I'll say this. As far as Patrick's concerned, it's less about mechanics to me, and it's more about this guy. I always tell this to big-time high school quarterbacks. I say, if you want to be a 5-star recruit in high school, that kind of comes down to making plays. When you want to have success in college as a quarterback, it's a hybrid of being able to make enough make plays, but also you got to start learning how to put the ball in play. And I think success in the NFL, you want to win, it really comes down to putting the ball in play. Because as far as run around, jump over a guy, whip one across the field, I don't know if I've ever seen Tom Brady do that.
Yeah.
And so what I see Patrick doing at times is trying to make plays and getting away from just putting the ball in play. But I think that's part of that system too. They take shots, they push it down the field. And so it's, for me, when I watch Patrick, if somebody would say, hey, these throws right here, look at how bad the mechanics are. I don't connect it back to mechanics. I connect it back to, is he putting the ball in play or is he trying to make a play? And actually what's called for it on that specific play.
Get smarter every time we talk. He's the founder of QB Summit. You got a young quarterback in your family, this is the place you go. QB Summit Tour heads to Orange County this weekend. Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen. Boy, he's become something. We'll get to that next time. Like the nautical theme behind you. It's very, very nice. Find Jordan on Twitter at JWPalms. Good seeing you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Always smart stuff. Just get smarter every time he's on the show. Yeah, here's the thing. I've been very supportive of Kyler Murray. But I also have multiple people who I trust around the NFL that have said leadership stuff, there's a little diva, a little prima donna here. It's not great. And I had that multiple source. I totally trust it. Jordan had said there's some leadership things with him I wouldn't love and don't love, but it's working. And so, I mean, that's the reality is some things with Aaron wear me out. It's working. Kevin Durant's issue outside of Golden State, it's not working. So, we all, you know what I mean? Like once you get into the field of entertainment, maybe it's this way in law, maybe it's this way in medicine. When you have kind of an elite performer, they're going to be unique. They're going to do things their own way. And if it's working, what do you say? What do you say? Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.